And remember, the only thing sexier than knowing how to fix something is actually being sexy. Okay, so I've had this car for nearly 20 years now. I got it in late 2004, early 2005. And I've done a lot of work on it and a few videos on it. One thing I haven't had to do has been do much with the distributor. The distributor is the HEI. And but this thing has, every now and then it randomly cuts out the ignition system, which is a little upsetting. So this car's been sort of sidelined until I get a chance to address it. And I'm assuming it's the HEI ignition module, which, whereas for the vintage and the type of what it is, as a solid state ignition, it has the stock HEI ignition module is one of the more reliable ones. I'm looking at you, Ford. And so we got our HEI ignition module, Protronics unit. I don't know. Some people love Protronics, some people hate Protronics. I'm on the fence. The MSD one required MSD external box, and I wasn't sure of any of the other ones on Summit. If they had a GM Goodrich one, I might have used it, but you know what was the last production HEI? It's all repop. All repop. So, for the last few months, the majority of our subscribers now at this point, I don't know if they even follow us for working on our crap boxes like we kind of started off doing this channel for. Because we've mostly been going to car shows and looking at other people's prides and joys and not really talking much about ours. Now if we go back in the archives, they'll clearly see we got lots of videos of us actually working on stuff. And the break in that has to do a lot with this magnificent structure and all the work that's been going into putting this up. Doing as much of it as I can myself, because yeah, I'm not cheap that way. And I'm foolish enough to believe that there's nothing I can't do as soon as I understand how it's done. Anyways, in spite of the fact that we don't currently have any light or power down here, we're taking advantage of the space to work on stuff because it's a hell of a lot more comfortable to be working on it down here with a little slight cross breeze and no sun beating down on us on a concrete pad. Just ask Ursa. And yeah, so that's what we're going to be doing today. Notice it's heads up time on faithful old Pontiac. And for now, this is currently what we're going to use for power. Okay, one of the big challenges of our current situation is no matter what I want, it's in the other shop. So tools spread across two different shops, two different areas. So I'll take a look around here, see what I got, and then have to go up and get what I actually need and come back and the next step. Lather, rinse, repeat. I really just need to move all my tools down here and then keep them down here. Alright. So that wire there, this is my ignition hot wire. And then this is the wiring that goes to the ignition module. Anyways, so the cap is loose. The cap can come off. That there is the manual choke I installed, but that cable's damaged. I'm going to go and just remove this. Now, one of the important tricks is to document exactly positions of everything somehow, so that when you go to reinstall everything, as little challenges as possible. Alright, distributor's free. Okay, I took some pictures of how it's wired up, so I don't have to worry about remembering. And we do have this condenser in here. And so I'm really thinking maybe putting a new condenser in there. Now the gasket just came apart as it came off. So I think I know I need to replace that, or else I'll be getting more oil leaks. Okay. Here we got our HEI set up in the little vise. And when I first started down this path, this journey, I just thought I was going to be replacing the ignition module, which is that bit right there, which, much to the surprise of one of the fellers over at Napa, I've got 20 years of solid use out of. So, and possibly even more than that, because that's how long I've had the car and how long I've had that this module has, well, I have not replaced this distributor or this module. Those move freely, that's good. I was unaware of it. Let's see, you can see that. No, you can't. There's a condenser in here. And something that I decided was that having a, if we got a condenser, it's got to get replaced, and for replacing this, we might as well replace the condenser. Because what condensers do is they're noise reduction, and these HEI distributors frequently they get criticized because the module goes out. And like I said, I've had this module for 20 years. I have never had a problem with it. It has been exceptionally reliable. Now, it is an actual original GM part, which I'm not sure those are available anymore. And imagine this this condenser too. And it leads me to believe, and the guy I was talking with, the fine gentleman I was talking with, very experienced, very knowledgeable feller, he seemed to be surprised to see a condenser in here. And I mean, to be honest, so was I. And to be honest, I kind of was surprised as well, because I thought these solid state distributors didn't need a condenser. But the reality is, since it's noise suppression, that's the whole purpose of a condenser. It's actually on the hot side, the positive side. So any AC signal that comes in is separated and removed. And if you try to run a distributor without a condenser, which I've attempted, they don't work at all, points or anything. So it makes sense that on a solid state distributor you'd need noise suppression as well. It's just with given the microelectronics, probably, or I guess the fair assumption that I was under was that noise suppression, the bandpass filter, wasn't a condenser like this. HEI was an option, and points were a standard for a while. There was an overlap there. Now, it recommends this thermal conducting grease on the bottom here, and I imagine that is one of the reasons given for the failure of these modules is their susceptibility to heat. Now, these are all the quality Napa parts, so we shall see what, now these are all the quality Napa parts, and we shall see how good they are. To be honest with you, it's a store brand I trust the most. All right, going to our photograph. In my memory, which is questionable, rotor, the module was towards the back of the carburetor. The pot was aiming at the freeze plug on the side of the head, and the rotor was pointing straight back. Okay, I think I'm one tooth off, so lift it up. And I think that's correct. Now, one of the tricks to get it into the oil pump is to bump the starter. And next step, of course, is to go ahead and transfer over the new, all that. All right. Now, both the great advantage and the great bane of the HEI is everything is built into the distributor. So all you need externally, that was loose. Huh. These are all kind of on the loose side. Yeah, these are all loose. Interesting. Honestly, that could be part of my problem. Oh well. Assuming the parts I'm putting in are any good, it's not an issue. Huh. Here's my problem. How does this thing still work? See that? That's what's causing it. That's my problem. So, my problem wasn't the ignition module. My problem was the coil wire was bad. So, I'm going to hold on to this. I'm not going to bother swapping it back in. I'll hold on to this, and if that Pertronics one doesn't hold up, I can put this back in, and it'll work great. So, stay focused, damn it. Anyways, that makes me feel good actually, because where the symptom is consistent with failing ignition module, actually finding burnt wires is a relief. So, and the amazing thing is the thing still ran, it just every now and then it missed, or it did stall on me once. And they were on warm days, but this time of year, every day is warm. Okay, so got our new coil, got our GK, because, you know, I'm a parts snob. It's always funny. I have to always check the internet on ignition timing, how the numbers are cylinders are numbered. Now, all GM cars tend to be the same. All Chrysler cars tend to be, I think, the same as GM, and all the Fords are different. And since we seem to wax back and forth between Chevy and Ford, or GM and Ford around here, I'm always confused. On the Fords, it's, of course, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And of course, GM is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So, on our 89 Mustang, going through some ignition issues on that, checking the timing, had to time off that cylinder. On this one here, we have to time off this cylinder, so I had to double check that on the internet, make sure. Now, distributor is in, obviously. It is all hooked up, and we should be able to fire right off. Of course, we got our handy dandy timing light, and we need to mark the timing marks, and then we can confirm we got it correct. So, do that next. All right, let's see how correct I am. Okay, so I get the ignition done. It's running really good. Lay the hammer down, actually tuning up the ignition, even though it's a solid state ignition and shouldn't need much tuning up. Get the timing dialed in, get these new parts in there. It makes a noticeable difference in power. My problem is the transmission isn't shifting right. It's shifting like it's wide open throttle even when it's not, and it's holding that gear really far up that RPM range. So, it's a TH350, which uses a vacuum signal to know what the engine load is, and then based upon that, mass spring, dampener, yada, 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 you know, along with the governor, that's how it affects line pressure, and line pressure is how it knows when to shift. So, while playing around with that, obviously I knocked something loose on the vacuum system. Get it back from the cheap little Chinese place I went up to get liner from, and after I ate some chow mein and teriyaki chicken. Let this thing cool off, throw it up on the jacks, and grab the metal line that goes, vacuum line that goes back to the transmission. It doesn't feel like it's attached to anything anywhere. So jack it up. A little piece of vacuum line right there. So our app store and got a new one. So we'll stab this on, drop it back on the ground, and go for another loop-de-loop to make sure this thing's shifting right. And I know for some of our new subscribers, video like this is a little out of the ordinary, isn't what you typically find on here. Though this is actually what we started the channel to do, is keep our classic shit boxes on the road. Anyway, gonna be getting more videos like that, like this. Let us know what you think down in the comments. Okay, so my little intermittent ignition system problem that I started having not long ago with old Reliable here. A couple frayed wires in the coil and shortened against each other. And looking at the level of damages, I'm surprised this thing could move under its own power at all. Very surprising. I replaced a whole bunch of parts I probably didn't need to. And so that means I got all the old parts as backups and spares, and that's good because old parts are OEM original parts. So if these new parts suffer from the issues that it seems like all new parts seem to be suffering from, i.e. a lack of quality, I can always swap those parts back in and we'll be good to go. Anyways, thank you for joining us. Hope you learned something. Hope you enjoyed it, and if you haven't done so already, please hit the like button. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. Really appreciate it. Talk to you next time.